going forward, developers just won't need to learn JavaScript or React or whatever it is. And you really, I mean, so the teaching of those skills takes a dive, but then teaching something else, maybe prompt engineering goes up.
I think, I think there's an immediate thing, and then there is what's going to
Yeah.
happen. I think the immediate space, you're going to see these as assistants. You'll still have to architect and design, and some of the modules you'll have to write. You'll have to check the output of the program. Some of the output may be buggy. You'll have to go fix it. So you'll still need familiarity and expertise with these languages. What happens at the end? Well, you may not need to know those languages. By the way, it's no different than what's happening in computer science for a long time. When computer science started, you had to write everything in assembly, right? So you needed to know everything in zeros and ones, and before that in punch cards, but let's say zeros and ones. So you actually, and then from zeros and ones, which is the punch card, to assembly. So you actually, I still remember the days when I would have to take tight loops, and I would actually literally write them in assembly so that your register allocation was done well and the loops were tight, and you didn't have instructions that are superfluous, and you actually wrote the code in such a way that the instructions could be scheduled without pipeline holes, right? We have to do that way.
Yeah.
Then came a point when the high-level languages and the compilers became so good that you never had to do it anyway. So if you go back at that time, then, as somebody saw the compilers emerge, they might have been thinking, well, will we get to a point when we don't, and they did all the programming in assembly, then they're saying, do we get to a point where we don't have to do assembly? And, initially it didn't happen. You still had to write your inner loops in assembly because the tools weren't good enough. But now you've gotten to that point. So ultimately the progress happens where that higher level abstraction does the job that the lower level abstraction used to do. And so you started with punch cards, and that became assembly, and then you didn't have to do punch cards, and then you started with C, and you didn't have to do assembly, and then you started, in C. Well, you can think, hey, do I not have to do free and malloc, right? And then you get to Java and these garbage collected languages, and they just went away. So that, to me, it's really just a continuation of human progress where you keep raising the level of abstraction.